that usually whenever Shri Krishna cried, his mother would wipe away his tears with her own sari. Krishna expected the same reaction from his mother, but when she did not reciprocate in the same way, he used his left hand to wipe away his own tears as his right hand was firmly held by his mother. The Lord thought, quote, "Today she does not wipe away my tear. This must be very serious situation," unquote. Shri Krishna then rubbed his eyes to produce more tears in an attempt to invoke the compassion of his mother and avoid punishment. Mother Yashoda chastised him by raising her stick and saying, quote, "Oh, restless boy, Ashant, so hot-tempered, oh greedy boy, monkey lover, house plunderer, from today onward I will not give you any butter or milk products. I will keep you bound in the house. You can no longer play anywhere as you please. I will not allow any toys or playmates," unquote. As Mother Yashoda chastised Krishna in this way, raising her stick above him, he looked up at her in fear. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that Mother Yashoda not only caught hold of Krishna, who is difficult to reach even for the great yogis, but she also started chastising the Lord, who has been offered prayer by great personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Mother Yashoda caused fear in him who is the cause of fear of Mahakala and Yamraj just by raising her stick toward him. When Mother Yashoda saw that her son had been extremely fearful, she was worried that he might become too distressed by this fear. She quickly threw her stick aside in order to lessen his fear. But Mother Yashoda was still concerned that Krishna learned a lesson. She did not want him to untrained. She wanted him to become a well-mannered, good person. Due to her intense love, Mother Yashoda contemplated how to make Krishna, who is Purushottama, the best among all men, a good human being. The pastime demonstrates the uniqueness of Krishna's Vraja Leela. In no other incarnation does the Supreme Lord awaits judgment from anyone. Here, Krishna is guiltily standing in front of his mother, his fate completely in her hands. Mother Yashoda now has fully jurisdiction to decide whether to punish, bind, or release Krishna. This is the speciality of parental affection, Vatsalya Bhav of Vraja, where the knowledge of Krishna's Godhead is covered. Sukadeva Goswami then says, Arbhak Vatsala. Seeing the genuine fear in his eyes, Mother Yashoda put her stick down and contemplated on how else to discipline her mischievous son. Due to her intense parental loving mood, she had no knowledge of the opulence of her son and wanted to teach him a lesson by binding him with a rope. Here, Srila Sukadeva Goswami has used the word Tad Virya Kovida. Srila Jiva Goswami has given two meanings of this word, Tad Virya Kovida and Atad Virya Kovida. Tad Virya Kovida means by knowing very well about his great restlessness. Atad Virya Kovida means by not knowing his all-pervading greatness due to her parental loving mood. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained that Krishna pleaded with great fear, quote, "My dear mother, please do not beat me," unquote. Mother Yashoda replied, "If you are so afraid of being chastised, then why did you break the churning pot?" Krishna said, "I will never do it again. Please throw away that stick." Mother Yashoda felt apprehensive to hear her darling son speaking in this way. She thought, "Oh, today my son is so perplexed." At this time, she decided that the stick was no longer necessary and discarded it. But she was convinced that Krishna needed to be taught a lesson, and she was afraid that he might run away to the forest. This was due to something he had said earlier when she had chastised him and called him a friend of monkeys. At that time, Krishna had responded, "What? You tell me that I am a monkey? If I am a monkey, then let me go to the forest. I will stay there with all the monkeys. For this reason, Mother Yashoda thought it would be a good idea to bind Krishna, keeping him close to her house. In the Gopal Champu, this is described as follows. With a hidden smile, she said, "But you are a thief. You are the king of thieves. Your father lineage is all thieves." She asked her son, "How did the yogurt pot break?" Shri Krishna replied, "It was the Supreme Lord's stick. It was the Supreme Lord's stick." Mother Yashoda asked, "Who gave butter to the monkeys?" Krishna replied, He who created monkeys gave it to them." I think that you always taste and eat the fresh ghee meant for sacrifices. After Yashoda scolded the infant as a thief, her heart softened. Smiling but with anger, she said, quote, "You should tell your secret and give up your pride." When his mother said this, Krishna began weeping. He said, "When you ran quickly, the pot broke because of being stuck by your anklet. What is my fault in this?" Inspired by the Lord, the monkeys entered the house to steal. When they pulled at the butter pot, I caught it. What is my fault? Seeing you holding a stick, I ran away like a thief. Seeing that I was frightened, you tried to mercilessly beat me without justice. Yashoda spoke with repentance. "Oh, best of the thieves with clever words, though you are a son of King of Braja, you are fond of monkeys and have the nature of monkey." Fearful and to give fear to his mother, he said, "If I am monkey, then I will go to the forest and stay there." His mother began to worry, thinking, "Who can understand him? A proud child will do this. I must tie him up to prevent it, since I am alone and cannot continue to pay attention to both the house and this child." She then spoke aloud, "O thief, who bewilder everyone with your restless eyes, do not think of avoiding me. After binding you up, I will go to the house quickly. If you show your strength, then steal something else." When she began tying him up, Krishna became so angry that he breathed with a hissing sound. He said, Rohini, where have you gone with Balaram? Because you are not here, my mother is binding me up. Please come quickly." Because Rohini was far away, she could not hear, but the other neighboring women who had previously scolded him heard his cries and came. They laughed and said, "Has he done anything at your house?" They did this so that Mother Yashoda might remember what she had said to them previously. Krishna used to steal butter in the houses of different gopis. When the gopis would came to Yashoda to complain about her son stealing butter, she would not believe it. She would say, quote, "Why would my son go to steal butter in your house? Is there any lack of butter in my house?" In this way, Mother Yashoda would discard the complaints of gopis. Today, as Yashoda was punishing Krishna, the gopis were thinking, when we complained about Krishna, she would not believe it. Today, Krishna must have done something naughty business in her house. At this point, it is important to understand some of the ways Krishna would cheat the gopis when stealing butter from their houses. One day, Krishna, along with his friends, entered the house of one of gopis to steal butter. She was not in the house as she had gone to Yamuna to fetch water. While they were stealing butter, she suddenly returned. As soon as the children saw her approaching, they ran away. But somehow the gopis caught hold of Krishna. She thought, quote, "Every day this boy comes to our house to harass us. When we go to complain to Mother Yashoda, she never believes us. Today I have caught this boy red-handed. I must bring him to his mother to prove how Krishna is stealing butter." With this thought, she caught hold of Krishna's hand and pulled him toward his house to bring him to Mother Yashoda. While she was pulling, Krishna was trying to resist. and thus being dragged behind her. At one point along the way, Krishna somehow managed to release his hand from her grip and quickly replaced it with her son's hand without her noticing it. Her son was one of the Krishna's friends, all of whom were at this point accompanying him as he was being dragged along to his mother. She was now pulling the hand of her own son who was walking behind her while she was thinking she was pulling Krishna's hand. When she reached Mother Yashoda's house and screamed, Mother Yashoda, just see, I have brought your son. He was stealing butter in my house. I have complained to you so many times, but you do not believe me. This time, I have brought him personally as I have just caught him red-handed stealing butter in my house. Yashoda came out of her house after hearing the screaming of the gopi and said, Why should my son go to your house to steal butter? My son is here in my house. He is eating butter, sitting right there in my house. Mother Yashoda saw that the gopi was holding her own son's hand. She asked, Where is Krishna? The gopi then presented the thief to Mother Yashoda and was shocked to see that it was her own son. Mother Yashoda said, Just see, you have caught your own son who was stealing butter from your house. You must be thinking too much about Krishna. Therefore, when anybody does any mischievous, you think of my son. The gopi then saw Krishna sitting peacefully in Mother Yashoda's house, eating butter and smiling at her. She was very surprised and she could not believe what has happened. Feeling very disappointed, she picked up her son and placed him on her shoulders. While she was walking back to her house, the boy tapped on her head, saying, Hey, look at me. When the gopi looked at the boy, she saw Krishna on the shoulder instead of her son. Feeling overwhelmed, she put Krishna down. As soon as Krishna's lotus feet touched the ground, he ran off, saying, quote, Just see what happened. Never try to catch me again. Today I became your son, but if you catch me next time, I will become your husband. In this way, Krishna would jokingly harass the Vraj Gopikas who would thoroughly enjoy Krishna's childhood pranks. On another occasion, a gopi found Krishna stealing butter from her house and she very expertly managed to catch hold of Krishna. Today, she thought, I will not take Krishna to Mother Yashoda. I will rather bind him here and bring Yashoda to her little thief. Thinking like this, she brought a rope and tried to bind Krishna to a pillar. Whatever method she tried was unsuccessful. Somehow, she could not manage to bind Krishna. After numerous attempts by the gopi, Shri Krishna said, quote, You may try in so many ways to bind me, but you will always fail as you do not know how to bind me. If you really want to know how, then I can show you. The gopi agreed and Krishna then made the gopi stand next to the pillar and started to bind her in order to teach her how to bind. After tightly binding her to the pillar, Krishna tied the rope with some strong knot, instructing, This is the way you should bind me. He then ran away, leaving the gopi fully bound. Although the gopi could not bind Krishna, Mother Yashoda was able to bind him by the strength of her loving parental affection. Srila Sukdev Goswami explains the great wonder of love of Mother Yashoda, how she has made the impossible possible. It is impossible to bind Krishna as he is Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is all-pervading. This means he has no outer limit and therefore no inner limit. He has no Purva Param, no before and no after. He was in existence before this world was manifested as the cause, and he will continue to be in existence after this world disappears. Without his existence as cause, this world could not have become manifest. He is the entire world. How then is it possible to bind him? If this world cannot bind him, then how can he possibly be bound by a mere rope which is made of but a tiny fraction of matter of this world. Thus, the great opulence of Lord Krishna has been described, which clearly indicates that it is impossible for anyone to bind him. Yet, Mother Yashoda bound that Krishna, who is beyond approach by any of the senses and who has appeared in the form of human being. She bound him by a rope to the grinding motor, thinking of him as her son. The unlimited thirst of relishing the unlimited thirst for relishing the limitless parental love of Mother Yashoda that resides within the heart of Bal Gopal, who is the source of all power, has made it possible for her to bind him with an ordinary rope. Mother Yashoda was able to do this as the Lord was displaying the form of an ordinary material boy. If he appeared as an ordinary boy, then the question may be asked, quote, how can he have no inner or outer limit? This is because he is Adhokshaja. Even if he is visible like the ordinary boy to the ordinary eyes of the people in general, he is also beyond the knowledge acquired by the senses or beyond sense perception. This means he cannot be perceived by material senses. He is simultaneously avyakta or unmanifest and vyakta or manifest. Nityavayuktapi Bhagwan Ishakyate Nij Sakhitah. Quote, even though God is eternally unmanifest, by his internal potency he is also fully manifest. Without the help of this energy, who is able to see that infinite Param Brahma Parameshwara? Next, this proves that nobody can manifest him. He is unmanifest and can be manifest by his own energy alone. He reveals himself through the influence of his inconceivable Kripa Shakti or mercy energy to those who are surrendered to him. Behind the manifested and unmanifested aspects of his pastime, his inconceivable potency is at work. It is written in Mahabharata 6.6.11, quote, one cannot use material reasoning on those things which are inconceivable. Inconceivable refers to those things existing beyond Prakriti. Brahma Samhita 2.1.27 states, the defects of the agent do not apply to Brahman because of scriptural statement, which are the only proof concerning inconceivable subjects. Shruti says, quote, God is neither gross nor subtle but is simultaneously gross and subtle. In other words, he is the perfection of form while simultaneously being formless. He has no color but still his body is bluish and his eyes are reddish. It is known from scripture that God possesses all opposite qualities. Opposite means the extreme of anything. He is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. He is the controller of everything, yet he is controlled by his devotees. He is within everything and at the same time he is apart from everything. This is his inconceivable potency. Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita 9.4 and 5, quote, by me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not the part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. Unquote. By this direct statement of the Lord from Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that God possesses all qualities as well as their opposite. In this way, he can be simultaneously Vyakta and Avyakta. This is possible only for the Lord. While he is constantly all-pervading, he can have an isolated or localized form in the same time. In both cases, he retains all his power. Even if the Lord has taken the form of a small boy, he retains the power of all-pervasiveness. Thus, it is not possible for his mother to bind the all-pervading Lord with a rope. The Lord has proven his greatness when he displayed unlimited universes to Mother Yashoda in his mouth. But this great opulence and greatness of Lord does not manifest to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda thinks, quote, "This boy is my son." Due to her parental love, she cannot see the all-pervasive nature of the God. She was able to bind the all-merciful Vibhu because of her parental loving mood. Within the mind of Mother Yashoda, her son's Vibhuta Shakti or all-pervasive power remains covered and does not manifest. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments, quote, "The all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, controller of all controllers, Lord Krishna, who has bound all living entities by the rope of Maya, starting from the blade of grass way up to the Lord Brahma, has now been bound by Mother Yashoda by the power of her love. She bound Krishna by the rope of her love. Only in this way was it possible. We can only bind something which has an outer surface or outer periphery, something which is limited in its size. If something is all-pervasive, this means it has no outer limit, no periphery, and consequently no inner limit either. How can then one bind such a thing? It is not normally possible. The Lord is Sarvadesha Vyapaka, the all-pervading, and He is also Sarvakala Vyapaka, eternal. This means there is nothing before or after Him. Kala or time flows eternally. The Lord is also the world. Because this world has manifested from His energy, and because the energy and the energetic are non-different, we can conclude that the Lord is the world. If the Lord is the world, then the world cannot bind the Lord. If the world cannot bind the Lord, then how can the rope, which is an insignificant part of the world, bind the Lord? We can dismiss Krishna as just a small boy and question his all-pervasiveness, as he has already proven this by displaying the entire cosmic manifestation in his mouth. We must therefore conclude that it is impossible to bind Krishna. If so, then how did Mother Yashoda achieve this incomprehensible task? She bound him by the power of her unparalleled parental love. Among the unlimited qualities of Lord Sri Krishna, he has the quality known as Prem Vatsalya, which means he is controlled by love. Because of this quality of Lord, it is possible for Yashoda to bind him by a rope of love. Because Shri Krishna was so mischievous, he deserved the punishment his mother had devised. Because Shri Krishna was so mischievous, he deserved the punishment his mother had devised for him, as she had the duty to train her son properly and could not neglect this. As Mother Yashoda was binding Krishna, something very interesting happened. She was about to tie the knot when she discovered that the rope was 2 fingers short. She added more rope, but again it was 2 fingers short. She made several more attempts, but whatever quantity of rope she added, she was surprisingly 2 fingers short at every attempt to tie the knot. Yashoda thought, "My child, due to his uncommon naughtiness, has become very restless and is not allowing me to bind him." This reflects the very sweet mood of the parental love of Mother Yashoda. Of the Lord's many potencies, one is Vibhuta. Vibhu means big, and this potency appeared in the waist of the Lord, increasing it in a way that was invisible to Mother Yashoda. We have seen that the love of Mother Yashoda was one of the main factors for her being able to bind the Lord. But is this love all that is needed? Actually, the love of Mother Yashoda had to be combined with the sanction or acceptance of the Lord. The reason the rope was 2 fingers short every time indicates the 2 essential components needed to bind or capture Krishna. Number 1, eagerness for Krishna, and number 2, the mercy of Krishna. When Krishna saw the labor of Mother Yashoda, he felt compassion or mercy and thus accepted the binding. When Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna, he began to shout, begging help from Mother Rohini. Krishna said, "Oh Mother Rohini, oh Brother Balaram, please help me, my mother is binding me." But they were not there, as they had gone to the house of Upananda to attend a program. If Mother Rohini had been there, the situation may not have escalated to such a degree where Mother Yashoda had to bind Krishna. Mother Rohini would most likely have intervened to normalize the situation. Due to Krishna's wailing and plea for help, the neighborhood ladies come to Nand Baba's house to see the reason for all the commotion. They were surprised to see Mother Yashoda punishing her darling son by trying to bind him with a rope. The gopis thought, quote, "Today Kana must have done something very mischievous in this house. He usually come to our house to steal butter. When we come to complain, Yashoda refuses to accept that Krishna would steal butter from our houses. But today, Krishna has done something naughty at his house, causing his mother a great anger." The gopis pleaded on the behalf of Krishna. Quote, "O Yashoda, please release this boy. Consider him punished already. What great offense has he committed for which you are trying to bind him? This is very common behavior for children." But Mother Yashoda did not care for their word. She became more determined to bind Krishna. Seeing Yashoda so frustrated, the gopis began to laugh, saying, "Oh, just see, you can never bind him. There must be a secret to binding this boy. It appears that destiny is protecting him." Mother Yashoda initially tried to bind Krishna with the rope she was using to churn butter, and then eventually used every rope in her house. The neighborhood ladies jokingly brought more ropes from their houses and said, quote, "Take all these ropes to bind your son. Let us see how you bind him." Unquote. Hearing the gopis, Mother Yashoda became even more determined and said, "What you are talking about? Do you think I cannot bind this small boy? I will try all the day, use all the rope in my house to see how big his belly is." Mother Yashoda was also laughing along with the gopis, who were all very surprised to witness the miraculous event. Mother Yashoda said, "He was born at the wrong time, thus he does not know good and bad. But I think you have been put under the spell thus he does not know good from bad. But I think you have been put under a spell, since internally you are prejudiced against him, but externally you show yourself differently." The neighboring ladies laughed and said, quote, "Falling at your feet, we swear that we are not under some amazing spell." Mother Yashoda then began to think, according to Garga's word, the Lord's power are covering this boy, and he does not know what is happening. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti has described the reason why the rope became shorter. He states, quote, "When Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna, it was during the morning. Usually at that time, he would go to play with his friend. But that time, all his friends had come and were looking through their windows and calling Krishna to play with him. Krishna wanted to go out and play with his friends, and his Leela Shakti acted according to his desire. When his Leela Shakti saw that Krishna wanted to go out and play, but his mother was trying to bind him, thus stopping him, the Leela Shakti thought, who can bind any lord? Thus his Vibhuti Shakti was sent by the thus his Vibhuta Shakti was sent by his Satya Sankalpa Shakti to appear in the waist of Krishna. As a result, whatever amount of rope was used, it was always short. Mother Yashoda thought, alas, the size of my son's waist is only as big as my palm, but I have used rope as long as 100 hands, and still it is not sufficient to bind this boy. Surprisingly though, I do not see his belly growing in size. The second surprising thing is that every time I am about to knot the rope, it is exactly 2 fingers short, not 3 or 4. The neighboring lady said, alas, after using all the ropes in your house, the small waist of this boy still could not be bound. This indicates his good fortune. Destiny has dictated that he will not be bound. O Yashoda, better you refrain from this endeavor. Hearing this from the ladies, Mother Yashoda became more obstinate and thought, today I will try to bind this boy even if it takes until evening and I have to use all the ropes in this village, but I will see the end of this boy's belly. I have to know the size of his waist. In this mood, Mother Yashoda, the greatest well-wisher of her son, would not give up the effort to bind Krishna, setting the scene for the transcendental contest between God and his devotee. Finally, Lord Krishna, upon seeing the labor of his mother, gave up his impudence, Hatta. In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the most attractive and completely independent Krishna, who is the controller of all controller, showed his great quality of Bhritya Vasyata, becoming subordinate to his Bhritya or servant. He is controlled by his devotees. He who controls all controller is controlled by his devotees. One may ask, can Krishna really be bound in this way? Sukadeva Goswami says, yes, because of his merciful nature. Krishna can actually be tied and bound by his devotees. Kripayasit Swabandhane. Krishna's merciful nature, Kripa Shakti, prevailed and subdued all of his other Shaktis. One may ask, can Krishna really be bound in this way? Sukadeva Goswami says, yes, because of his merciful nature, Krishna can actually be tied and bound by his devotees. Kripaya Sit Swabandhane. Krishna's merciful nature, Kripa Shakti, prevailed and subdued all of his other Shaktis. His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj describes a very nice exchange between Balaram and Yashoda, as well as Balaram and Krishna. After binding Krishna to the grinding motor, Mother Yashoda sternly told Krishna, stay here. If you dare to move, I will beat you. She asked the other gopis to keep an eye on him. Until this point, Balaram was not there, so someone informed Balaram that his brother was tied up. Upon arriving, Balaram assumed his Sankarshan mood and strongly declared, quote, who dares to bind Krishna? I am Sankarshan. I am Sheshnag. As Sankarshan, I can burn the entire universe with one breath. As Sheshnag, I can inundate the entire Vraja with the poison coming from one of my 1,000 hoods. Does this wrongdoer not know what I can do? Who has done this? Who tied Krishna? Someone told Balram that it was Mother Yashoda who had bound Krishna. Upon hearing this, Balram's mood changed. He was no longer like a fiery snake. he became like a timid mouse. Balram's anger went and he did not know what to do. Balram saw that Krishna was crying, and Krishna, seeing Balram, cried even more to invoke his mercy. Seeing Krishna crying, Balram became angry again and shouted, "Who has tied Krishna? He is Narayana, he is Narsimha, he is Vamana, he is Matsya. Krishna is the origin of avatar. Krishna is the origin of all avatar. He is everything. Who is guilty one? I have 1,000 hoods. I will burn this Vraja to the ground with flames from my 1,000 hoods." Looking at Balaram, Mother Yashoda sarcastically said, quote, "Oh, I see Krishna is the origin of all incarnation. If that is so, who then you are?" Balaram replied, "I am Lakshman, I am Sheshnag, I am Sankarshan. I can do this, I can do that." Mother Yashoda then said, "Do all these incarnations have to appear only in my house?" She picked up her stick and waved it threateningly at Balaram. She warned, You had better get out of here before I beat and bind you as well." Hearing this, Balaram ran away. All his Sankarshana power was no longer present. Mother Yashoda said, "Krishna is Bhagwan. Indeed, he hears a cat meow and runs to me. Bhagwan Narsimha is like this. If Krishna is Bhagwan, then why does he needs to steal Makhan?" Balram ran from Mother Yashoda and went to Krishna saying, quote, "I told you so many times to give up this Makhan stealing. Did you listen to me? You ignored my advice and now you are suffering. What can I do? If someone else had tied you, I would have taken care of it. But when Ma ties you, what can I do? I am helpless." "I am helpless. What can I do to stop her? I heard that you broke the yogurt pot. Why did you do that? Even if you had broken the pot, why did you not just stop at that? Instead, you had to continue your mischievous and make her more angry. My dear brother Krishna, I am sorry. There is nothing I can do." Krishna heard this and began to cry even more. Balaram continued, "I told you so many times to give up this stealing habit, but you would not listen. This serves you right. Today you are getting punished. All you can do is cry. Who can release you?" Balaram pleaded with Mother Yashoda, quote, "Please untie him, please untie him." Then he said, "Then I will untie him. I will go and untie him." Balaram was hoping that Mother Yashoda would relent and tell him to untie Krishna, but Mother Yashoda did not relent. In the end, Balaram went back to Krishna and they both cried. Krishna cried because he was tied up and Balaram cried because he was helpless. Mother Yashoda, after binding Krishna, had left to perform her daily duties. While his mother was engaged in her household activities, Shri Krishna, while still bound, cast his merciful glance toward the two Arjun trees. Mother Yashoda left Krishna, but she did not go too far away. She also engaged a few boys to guard Krishna, and she knew very well that her boy did not have enough strength to pull the grinding motor. Thus, she had no fear that her son would wander off and get up to some mischief. Mother Yashoda said, "You restless boy, if you can, then let me see release yourself from this binding." Gopal Champu describes this. Having tied him up and showing harshness to him to teach him, Mother Yashoda went to do her household chores with the other women who were laughing. She placed other boys around her child to protect him. When the neighboring woman left, Krishna pretended to cry for a while. Then he became joyful at the prospect of moving the mortar to many places. Although he was tied up with great strength, increased by being surrounded by boys, he played with them while smiling. and move the house of the woman and steal the butter hanging in the pots. But he did not desire to free himself from the mortar using his own hands or any instrument in order to give joy by pulling the mortar. Here it should be noted that while Krishna was bound, he still had the power to deliver the two trees. Thus, even if Lord has been bound by his devotees, he still retains his power to deliver other. When Mother Yashoda left Krishna after binding him with the rope to the grinding mortar, Shri Krishna could have asked the other boys to untie the rope and release him. But he did not ask for that because he enjoyed being bound by his mother. He enjoyed that his mother had bound him with the rope of her love. Srila Jiva Goswami has said, Krishna had seen these trees since his birth, but on this particular day he had a very merciful glance. But on this particular day he had a very merciful glance. Why did he not have this merciful glance before? Because on this day Krishna was in bondage. He realized the pain of bondage, which reminded him that Nal Kuvera and Manigriva, the two sons of Kuvera, he realized the pain of bondage, which reminded him that Nal Kuvera and Manigriva, the two sons of Kuvera, had been standing there in the form of tree for so many years. Empathizing with the suffering of the son of Kuvera due to his own bondage, the Lord felt mercy. Krishna thought, I have been bound by mother due to some debt that I must repay. He decided to repay the debt by delivering the son of Kuvera. Desiring to pull down the trees, Krishna started pulling hard. He uprooted both the Arjun tree, creating a terrible sound. All the inhabitants of Braja, other than the deaf, could not maintain their composure on hearing the sound. What was most astonishing, however, was that Krishna had broken the two trees which were hard as thunderbolts, but he could not break the bondage of parental affection he had with his mother. Poet praised this, quote, I praise the child cared for by the woman of Vraja. He has a dark complexion and his ankle bell jingle. He gives joy when he crawls. He produces a rough sound as he pulled the mortar over the earth. His eyes became restless at the curious thunderous sound of falling Arjuna trees. Unquote. Hearing the fearful sound of the falling tree, the inhabitant of Vraja fainted for a muhurat. Only the boys around Krishna did not faint. Experiencing the height of sweetness of his pastime, they did not become frightened and remained immobile like a painted picture. Hearing that sound from far off, the villagers speculated on its origin and went toward the place. Arriving all at the same time and full of anxiety, they conversed with one another. Quote, How have these trees fallen without wind, without rain, without thunderbolt, without the attack of an elephant? How is it possible for someone to uproot the tree when there is no one here? For that reason, everyone fainted on hearing the loud sound. They noticed that Krishna was near the tree and that he was smiling. Pulling the mortar, he was experiencing bliss in his action. They surrounded him saying, How did this happen? Seeing his father coming from behind, Krishna began crying. His frightened father smiled in order to comfort the child and untie him. Kissing the child's face, he repeatedly asked what had happened, although he knew the cause of his being tied up. Where is the rascal who has tied you to the mortar? Attached to his father, he approached him after some time and whispered in his ears, "Oh father, mother did this." Yashoda, after recovering from fainting and repenting what she had done, had told Nanda everything. Thus, he already knew, but he did not want to say anything suddenly to Krishna while alone with him. Not with disrespect, but out of ignorance of details, he asked the boys, "How did this all happen?" The boys spoke. Quote, Krishna went between the two trees in order to go to the wider space for playing and pulled the immovable mortar by its base in the crooked manner. He produced a cracking sound in the trees and then suddenly made them fall to the earth. Then two people like fire, decorated with bracelets, crowns, and earrings, emerged from the broken tree and offered respects in all directions. Then they praised Krishna. The two then departed for the north. Hearing this, all the people with parental feeling, including Nanda, dismissed it as childish talk. Others, however, could not remove the doubt in their hearts. Gradually, one by one, other came and joined Nanda, holding Krishna on his chest. He went to the Yamuna river to perform his daily rites. Taking a bath with his son, he had Brahmana chant auspicious prayer, and after dismissing them with great gifts, returned to his house to take his morning meal. Being unhappy because of separation from Krishna and ashamed of having him tied him up, Yashoda did not come out of the house and did not talk to other women in the house. When the other woman left, Rohini, who solves all problems, surrounded her along with the respectable kitchen assistants. Nanda brought Krishna and Balram and ate his meal with them while engaging in affection, soft talk. He relaxed with the two, who were supreme bliss incarnate, for 2 muhurat. His heart was satisfied as if lying on the soft bed. He went to the cowshed at the time when the cows returned and supervised their milking. Bringing white sugar from the house, he had the two boys, along with their friends, drinking most beneficial milk fresh from the cows as the substitute for breast milk. He taught them how to write some letters. Later, entering the house, he met with others to have his evening meal. Desiring unbroken happiness for his son, the head woman, including Rohini, the jewel of their families, came and made a request. Quote, "O king, Yashoda has not eaten all day and she does not speak to anyone. Seeing this, all others have also followed her example." Nanda spoke with sadness and a smile. "What can we do? After showing anger, one should regret one's fault." They said with tears in their eyes, "Ah, she is very soft internally and externally. She will be devastated by your words." Slightly smiling, Nanda Maharaj then asked his son, quote, "Will you go to your mother?" Krishna said, No, I will spend my time with you. I will not go to mother. I will stay with father." The wives of Nanda Maharaj's elder brother said, "Whose milk will you drink? If you do not go to your mother, then who will feed you milk?" Krishna said, "I will drink fresh milk from the cows mixed with sugar." The lady said, "Who will you play with?" Krishna said, "I will play with my father. I will bring my brother also." Nanda Maharaj said, "Will you not go to your brother's mother?" Angrily, Krishna said with tears in his eyes, "She left me and went away." Hearing this, Rohini, with tears in her eyes, said softly, "O son, why are you so harsh? Your mother is suffering." Not listening to her words, Krishna, with tearful eyes, glanced at his father's face to attract glanced at his father's face. To attract Krishna, Rohini gave a signal to Balaram. Balaram went to Krishna and held his hand. Krishna rejected his hand and went to the lap of his father and held his arm around his neck, looking at Nanda's tear-filled eyes and bringing Nanda under his control. Seeing Krishna's internal affection for his mother, Nanda raised his hand as if to beat Yashoda. In order to reveal Krishna's affection for her, "O son, if you agree, I will beat her." Krishna could not tolerate this and blocked Nanda's hand. Smiling again, Nanda, showing great compassion because of the parental affection and understanding the heart of Krishna's mother, said, "O son, if your mother is in this condition, what will you do?" He spoke while smiling, indicating she would die. Because of his childlike nature, Krishna immediately became anxious for his mother. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Where is mother? I must go there." In anxiety, he went to Rohini's lap while all were noisily laughing. Rohini, who bestowed the greatest happiness, took him and entered the house. He hugged his mother's neck while crying in joy. Yashoda kissed the child's head and made sounds like a cow. With a melted heart, she sobbed, making all other there sob. Yashoda pacified the woman with confronting words, and slight glow appeared on her face. She appeared healthy, with a beautiful face, and satisfied her child with breast milk. With the other helpful woman, she fed Krishna and Balaram. For 3 days after the incident being reserved, Yashoda did not show herself to Nanda, but on the another day, Krishna brought her to his father on his order, holding the edge of her cloth. From the day when he was bound, the woman of Braja called the beautiful dark child Damodar in a joking way. What poet amongst all the people in this world can describe Yashoda, whom Sukadeva has described as much superior to Brahma, Shiva and Lakshmi? The drum rolled over her fame, announced by Sukadeva Goswami, wonders throughout the three worlds with great renown. Quote, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.20. Neither Lord Brahma, nor Lord Shiva, nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. Jai Mother Yashoda. Jai Mother Yashoda Mai ki Jai. Next chapter. How can Krishna be God? This pastime of binding Lord Krishna, although very sweet, has a very deep philosophical meaning. In this description of Dam Bandhan pastime, it is clear that Sri Krishna, who is Param Brahma, exhibits some qualities through his behavior which are not supposed to be manifest within Param Brahma. How do we reconcile this? Srila Jiva Goswami has explained the apparent contradiction exhibited in this pastime. It has been proved that Sri Krishna is the Param Brahma, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Param Brahma is not supposed to have many of the qualities that have been exhibited in this pastime. Param Brahma, being Atma Ram, is not supposed to be hungry. Being Atma Kam, or ever satisfied, is not supposed to be dissatisfied. Being beyond the three modes of material nature is not supposed to be angry. As Lakshmipati, the Lord of the wealth, he is not supposed to steal. Being the supreme controller, of whom even the Yamraj and fear personified are afraid, he is not supposed to be afraid. Since he is unattainable even by great yogis traveling at the speed of mind, he is not supposed to get caught. Being Ananda Punja, full of bliss, he is not supposed to be crying with sadness. As Mayadhisha, the controller of Maya, who binds every living entity with the rope of three modes, he is not supposed to be bound. However, in this pastime, we see all these quality exhibited. Krishna felt very hungry, dissatisfied, and angry. He stole, he was afraid, ran away, was caught by his mother, and was scolded by her. He cried and was eventually bound by his mother. How can we reconcile this Atmaram Nityatripta Shuddha Sattva? Lord Krishna has exhibited such hunger, dissatisfaction, anger, and so on. Srila Jiva Goswami has given a very nice explanation on this. Along with the unlimited qualities of the God, his quality of Purnat and Ishita remains within him eternally. But among all these qualities, his quality of mercy toward his devotee is undoubtedly the topmost. Without this supreme mercy, all his other great qualities would not be pleasurable to anyone. If someone's nature gives pleasure to people, then he is considered to be good. But if he is merciless, then he is considered to be faulty. God cannot have any fault, and we would consider this quality of God to be merciful toward his devotee, Bhaktanuragaha, to be the greatest quality. Srila Sukadeva Goswami has said in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.19.5, Yatha tvam kripa bhutaya tejasya mahimanusha. Quote, O my Lord, because you are endowed with causeless mercy, all opulence, all prowess, and all glories, strength, and transcendental qualities, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of everyone. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned in his commentary to Srimad Bhagavatam 6.9.5, quote, you being served by Kripa Shakti, wait eagerly to get a tulsi leaf from a devotee. You ask your devotee, today I am very hungry, please give me something to eat. Thus, even though the Lord is Purna Kama, he is also Apurna Kama. By this we understand that Krishna is Bhaktanuraga, or merciful to his devotees. This is his greatest quality. This mercy shows to the devotees, this mercy shown to the devotees has to be given in at least the same proportion as the devotion the devotees has for Krishna. If he gives less mercy to the devotees, then is reflected by his devotion, then it will be a fault on the Lord's part. Krishna has said, Ye yatha mam prapadayante tams tatev bhajamya aham. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. If the devotion of the devotee is completely causeless, without any designation, having the power to control Krishna, then Krishna is bound to reciprocate with his devotee to the degree of love exhibited by the devotees. By this, the greatness or opulence of Lord is not reduced in any way. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 4.21 and 22. 4.21 and 22 says, Mora putra mor sakha mor pranapati, ei bhave yei more kare shuddha bhakti. If one chastises pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great,
थोड़ा सा नीचे करेंगे तो सीधा चौथा नदी का ठीक है तो धक्के देना ठीक है ठीक है धक्के से गाइड सॉरी बात करेंगे ठीक है
भी सब कुछ कर लेते हैं, बोलते हैं तो ऐसा आ गया।
ये भी करी है इसको ऐसे ना आप नहीं किए धीरे धीरे जाके मन करेंगे जब लग होगा अरे सर ऐसे खड़े मैं हमेशा बोला दीवार के सामने से खड़े रहिए किसी का जरूरत है आप ऐसे करते हैं आप सब आराम कर लीजिए ऐसे करके खड़े रहना है मैं बीच में पीछे मैं बोला चावल हटा के वहाँ पे महाराज वहाँ पे खड़े रहिए किसी को दिखाई नहीं देंगे आपको बोला नहीं
चरणारविंदम। महाप्रभु कीर्तन नित्य गीत अधीतमाजन मनसोरसेन रोमांचकंपा सुतरंगभाजो वंदे गुरु श्री चरणारविंदम। श्रीविग्रहारा धन नित्य नाना सिंगारतन मंदिरमदनादो युक्तस्य भक्तः सन्निधतोऽपि वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं। चतुर्विधास्ति भगवत्प्रसादो सदनतीर्थां हरिभक्तसङ्घं कृत्वैव कीर्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे चिराधिकामा भवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना प्रतीक्षणास्वा दन्नदुलुपस्या वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं। कुञ्जयुनो कपिकलशीघ्रे यया बुद्धिर्यो स्थिरपेक्षणीया तत्रादिदक्षा प्रतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं। मुक्तिरक्षसदन्तेन समस्तशास्त्रे तस्तथा भागतैव सति किन्तु प्रभोर्यः प्रियैव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दं। यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत् प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादान्न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायन्तु अंशस्य यशस्वी संघं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणारविन्दं। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णापृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददायिने प्रह्लादलाददायिने हिरण्याकाशे पूर्वक्षः हिरण्याकाशे पूर्वक्षः शिलाटङ्कनखालये शिलाटङ्कनखालये। इतो नरसिंह पदतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बाहे नरसिंह हृदय नरसिंह नरसिंह केशवधिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमलामरे नाथमदभूत सिंहम् ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभिर्यम् केशवधिता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय विराज महाराज जय विराज जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय उग्र नरसिंह जय उग्र नरसिंह उग्र नरसिंह जय उग्र नरसिंह सकला लक्ष्मी जय नरसिंह नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण पेयसी नमो नमः राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो हे अभिलाषी जन्मार शरणलाय तारवांछा पूर्णा कृपा करिए कर तारे वृंदावन वासी मोरे अभिलाष बिलास तुझे दियो नयने हरिभो सदा युगल रूपराशि तल धरो सत्किरणु बत करो शिवाय अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी दीन कृष्ण दासे कहे ये नमो रहै राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदा ये नभासी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna.